which means that he is not going to get deported. In fact, he's going to get a 10-year green card and be able to apply for citizenship in 3 years. Hey everyone, this is immigration attorney Moumita, and I'm coming here to you on YouTube to share some great news that I have about my clients' cases underneath VAWA. I'm going to go with you 6 different cases that I have just gotten approved. These clients are all from different countries, and I'm talking about Mexico, India, Jamaica, Macedonia, Romania. I have clients from all over the world, and VAWA has helped them out. These clients are also either men or women, and they're also either in same-sex relationships or hetero relationships. If you don't know what VAWA is, VAWA stands for the Violence Against Women's Act that allows for persons who are married to U.S. citizens or to green card holders to be able to self-petition for a green card. Essentially what this means is that if you have suffered any sort of emotional abuse, physical abuse, and what is generally considered to be extreme cruelty during your marriage, then you may qualify for filing for a self-petition by yourself. If this is your first time watching me, please make sure you subscribe to my channel and make sure you turn on the notifications so that you can get regular immigration news updates. And if you want to find out how VAWA can help you, write this number down, which is 212-248-7907. The first case I'll talk to you about is from a case that I filed almost a year ago for a client from Romania. So in this instance, the client and the wife had started the case together but had separated, and when immigration called him for the interview, the wife was no longer willing to help him out and was refusing to go to the immigration interview. The client called me and told me that the wife had been doing many different things to him, including that his wife had been screaming at him, calling him names, humiliating him, sending nasty text messages, and made him feel worthless. I let the client know that everything will be okay, and we filed an abeyance request with his field office to let them know that he would not be able to do the interview because he needed to file for VAWA, and we also asked the immigration office for additional time so that we could proceed with filing for VAWA and thus keep him from getting denied. And almost a year later, he has gotten his approval. He is now going to be able to move on to his green card portion of his case, which means that he is not going to get deported. In fact, he's going to get a 10-year green card and be able to apply for citizenship in 3 years. I asked my client if he could share a few words with you about what he would say to anyone who was in his situation. My client said, "You don't need to be afraid and that you need to have faith. Have a good and open relationship with your attorney. Always have hope." My client also said that with our firm, he felt like a person and that we were taking care of him. And one more thing in his case that I want to point out is that my client had no physical abuse. His case was based upon extreme cruelty, which is largely emotional abuse. So the key takeaway is this: if you're in the situation where you're about to have your interview, your spouse and you are separated and they won't show up, and you have suffered things in your marriage, it is not too late to save your case, and you don't need to have any physical abuse to win your VAWA case. So let's talk about my second success story this month so far. This client is from India, and his case was also filed roughly a year ago. And just like the client before, he and his spouse had already started the green card marriage case together, but they separated, and she was threatening him heavily with threats of deportation. In my client's case, his wife had humiliated him on many occasions, calling him names, destroyed his cultural Indian food and spices and religious objects, and also made fun of his English and threatened to call immigration on him multiple times. In my client's case, we had very little proof. Many people are afraid to file for VAWA because they think they won't win because they don't have evidence to prove their abuse. We won this case with simply a very detailed affidavit on what my client had suffered. This client's success story is proof that you do not need to have anything else other than you. Your well-detailed affidavit may help you win your case by itself. These are the words that this client wanted to share with you. At that moment, when he was going through the situation, he felt very scared and did not know what to do. When I came across your video and I spoke to you, I felt so relaxed and I felt like things would be okay. The key takeaway from this success is that you don't need to have a lot of evidence to have a winning case. That is your attorney's job to help you put together a winning case. And second, you don't need to go through this alone and you don't need to be scared by yourself. My next success story is for a client from Macedonia whose wife had become very physically and emotionally abusive with him. My client wanted me to share this with you. Do not be scared like I was scared, thinking that no one can help you just because my wife was a US citizen. I thought that she had more rights than me. I thought that if I called the police to report the abuse, that the police would deport me instead. I felt like there was no one to help. And when I saw Moumita's video, I finally saw that there was a way for me to get help. So not only is the key takeaway in this success story the fact that VAWA can help you stay in the country and save your case, but when your US citizen spouse threatens you, they don't actually have a lot more legal power than you. And if you need to call the police because you are being physically hurt and put in danger, you have to think about your safety first. My next client is a client from Mexico who also got approved. We had very little evidence in her case, yet she got approved with just a few examples of text messages and witness letters. Her detailed affidavit was key to her success. The next client is a client from the Philippines who was in a same-sex marriage who also came to me after being separated from his spouse and having an interview come up. What my client wants you to know is that you should choose yourself first, protect yourself and not your spouse, no matter how much you love them, because at the end of the day, it is your life that you have to think about. And that is a key takeaway that I want you to remember too. Many people are hesitant to file for VAWA because they feel guilty about how will it affect the spouse, how will it hurt them, or that it means that it's a betrayal from your end. But VAWA will not affect your spouse and you are not betraying anyone. You are only upholding your own rights. And the last client that I'd like to talk to you about is my client from Jamaica who also suffered both physical and emotional abuse from his wife. My client did mention feeling emasculated almost because it is not typical for men to suffer physical abuse from women. But the reality is that it definitely does happen. And when it happens to you, when you're an immigrant, I want you to know that there is hope and there is a way forward. So the point of this video is to let you know that you are not alone and your case is not hopeless. I have worked with hundreds of immigrants in these situations, and you can pick up the phone and give us a call at 212-248-7907. We hope to hear from you soon. If you would like to learn more about how to file for VAWA and how to file a successful case, I will include links to 2 of my other videos here. Click here to watch my next video and I'll see you there.